Hi guys, Jean here. How are you guys doing tonight? Yeah. Well, as you can tell, I am in my PJs, and I'll tell you why I am in my pajamas and why my glasses is actually it's heating up here. Yeah, so I'm in my pajamas because I just spend a whole day in ceremony. And usually, when I return from ceremony, it takes me, about 2 hours. Well, not just me alone, I go with someone else, but it take us 2 hours to drive to the ceremony and 2 hours to drive back. And we left since morning at around, so we left since morning around 7:15 this morning, Mountain Time. So that was really and truly, um, yeah, we left since morning, Mountain Time. And I just returned home, I think 12 hours later. So, yeah, sorry about that. I don't know, I just took a nice, very, very, very hot shower. And so, which is interesting because but I just love taking hot shower. That might be a lot of information for you. So you can skip this part if that is too much information. But I'm saying all of that to say is that I came home and I took a shower and I wanted to be in my pajamas. And so the fact is, I didn't want to shower and then get dressed again because obviously I was out all day. And give me a moment because I actually want to open my window. um, yeah, just open. Yeah, I just opened the window. Yeah, I had to open my window because um I guess I took a hot shower and now I'm just I'm just overheating. Yeah, that is menopause, post-menopause, but who knows? I think I'm not exactly, I'm not sure why they call it post-menopause. They should just says premenopause, menopause, because after you come out of menopause, it's like, yeah, you still get all the symptoms from time to time, right? So, yeah, I came home and I just jump into my pajamas after my shower because it was easier for me to do. Why should I get dressed up again? And I hope that that does not disturb you. And I kind of like my nice little silky pajamas. Yeah. And so when I say that I come out from ceremony and I was in ceremony all day, um, you know, I wasn't actually in a church because I don't really go to church. More I am more in the spiritual, living a spiritual life. And I'm not living one of those spiritual life that is very shiny and neon and I get to come on and go on about it and gaslight to you about spirituality. I go in ceremony with my indigenous community. And basically, what it is, it's a day of praying and singing um, and cleansing. And if you have looked at my channel before, I'm sure that you have heard me talk about this aspect of my life. It's very intense part of my life. I'm in a 4-year commitment to this community, and so therefore I show up almost every other Sunday in this ceremony and community because we feast, we eat, and we spend time together. And so and obviously, I'm just going to speak on that tonight, not in deep details because it's not something that I can go into in deep details. But what I can say about this is that we live in an environment these days where people are full of fear, and people are very much I think, I don't think I know the biggest buzzword that is out there since after the pandemic is to stay safe. Everybody is telling you, stay safe, stay safe. You're driving up the road in a car, somebody's like, stay safe. They send you a text and it's like, stay safe. The truth is, I've been looking at one of my friend who is in the Caribbean right now, and every single post she put on Facebook, yes, I'm on Facebook, and so are you. And every single post she put on Facebook, she says, stay safe. I'm going to straighten my camera a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So every single post, and I got to tell you, like, for some reason, when people tell me to stay safe, I feel bugged, like I feel bugged. I'm like, I am safe. I feel safe in the world. And I'll tell you the difference. The reason why I feel safe, but the world is not really the safest place. The world is not a secure place right now. We all know that. We all are going through that. We may think because I am here in Canada, and you may be in the Caribbean, or you may be in England, or wherever you're looking at me, somewhere in the world, because I'm sure at some point you're going to be looking at this video because you're going to come back and look at all my videos. I really need to straighten this. Let me see. Yeah, this feels better. No, I guess one more. I'm sorry, I'm tampering with my camera. Yeah, so or maybe it's just me that feel tilted because as I say, I've been praying and really drumming and singing and praying and drumming all day, which takes up a lot of energy, and especially a 12-hour day. But let me tell you something, I would not miss it for the world, because when I leave and I go to ceremony like this, what happens is that I get to unplug. I get to unplug for 12 hours. I don't use my phone. I don't see my phone. I don't know where my phone is until I plug back on, you know, after ceremony on our drive back. So I was just, discussing this whole idea of safety, and we do not feel safe in the world. And because the truth is, the world is not a safe place. We are witnessing all the crimes against children and women, and, white women these days, mostly white people are getting themselves killed these days. And I'm not here to really speak on that. I am going to just share with you. Yes, I understand that the world is not the safest place, but you can find yourself in a place that could bring you comfort. You can find yourself in a place that could ground you. You can find a tool that could ground you and make you feel safe in your body, because the trauma that we are going through right now is that's the space that we are not feeling safe in. Our bodies are threatened. There is so much crime in the world. Just recently, I think just this past week, is it this past week or last week? I think it's just this past week because it's Sunday. um Earlier in this week, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, there was a shooting in a school here in Canada, and that is right next door to me because I'm in Alberta, and this happens in BC. And I can only imagine, well, actually, I can't. I cannot imagine, I cannot comprehend or understand what the parents of these children are going through. I just can't, because I'm not in their shoes. But what I can say is that because there is so much of these things that is happening around us, and we may think that we are safe. I'm experiencing where I have friends that has almost, like that is very ill. Even just coming from the community I'm coming from right now. Again, as I say, we pray, we spend most of the day praying and making offerings for our prayer. And that is one tool that is overlooked, like very much so. That is one tool that is overlooked among us here on earth. Prayers can move mountains. And that, my friend, is true. Prayer can move mountains. You ground yourself in prayer, it can make you feel safe. And I do understand that when we, if we have never prayed before, now, guys, I have to close my window because it's cool. I'm in winter time here, right? But, and again, I gotta say, that's the joy of, this, you know, in between menopause, post-menopause, all the things, right? That's what happens. 1 minute you're cold, 1 minute you're hot, and you just deal with it. I open my window, I close my window. I just deal with it. I don't have to have a breakdown over these things because my body is very regulated. My system is regulated. I can be in the biggest crisis in my life, but I'm grounded. I'm always grounded because I spend the time to ground myself, especially in prayer. Especially in prayer of gratitude. Because when there is nothing else to pray for, you pray for gratitude. You pray for what you already have in your life. And it could be very little. But if you just have a car and the car have gas in it, you can pray about that. So I am going to just, give you an idea. Like when I just start praying, especially when I just um come into this way of life that I'm living now. Before I was, a big meditation person and yoga. I still do yoga and I still meditate because any stillness could be meditating. I still do a lot of walking meditation. I may have to do some more, but when I have problems, like if I have something to work out in my mind or my emotion is I am in deep emotional distress, I go and walk on the land, on the earth, next to water. I ground myself. I sit on stones, and there is something you need to know about the stones and them. The stones and the water and the trees and the birds and the bees. They all our family. Yeah, I know, nutty sounds a little nut, but they all our family. Really, and sometimes they can bring you messages. And sometimes, if you're really quiet and you're listening, you get the answer to what it is you need or what it is you have to do, or whatever decision you have to make, even if you don't want to make it. And so, when it comes to praying, if you have never prayed before and you decide to use prayer as a tool, and I gotta tell you, it's free. Like you don't have to buy it. You don't have to get a coach to learn it. You don't have to take time out of your day to do it. The beauty of praying is that you can pray anyway, anytime, anywhere and anytime, not just when you feel like you're in a crisis. Because a lot of time, what happens is that when we are in deep crisis and we reach for the creator, it might be somebody, you may call it God or whatever you want to call it. I say the creator. Um, when you're in your deepest, darkest crisis and you reach for the creator, you are always in a place where you're bagging in. Like you feel like you like to bag it. You have to bag in. We hear it all the time. People tell you, I was in an accident, I was in this crisis and God get me out of it. I was on the floor in the bathroom, just begging the creator to help me out. And ultimately, I say to God, God, if you help me here, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So, God, if you help me, Creator, if you help me, I'm going to become a better person. I'm going to be in service to you. I'm going to give the money that I have to charity. Whatever you bargain with God with, I'll tell you why you do that. And you don't really need to do that. You don't really need to make these, deep bargains that half the time you cannot keep. Some people do, some people don't. But when you are praying, and especially if you're in a breakdown or you're in a crisis and you're in the space where you really want to reach out for something else beyond your little self, beyond your small self, beyond your small I, you want to reach out for that thing, you want to go for it. The truth is, All you got to do is to make an offering, not a bargain. You do not bargain. You're not in a shop. You're not going, you're not haggling in a market somewhere where something is $10 and you want it for $5 and you go back and forth until you pay $7 for it. That's not what you're doing. So do not go and try to make a bargain. If you do this for me, I'll do X, Y, and Z. Here is the simplest thing you can do. Make an offering. Make an offering with some tobacco, because it's good to, the reason you bargain is because you know that there have to be an exchange for what you are asking for. You are bargaining because of that. Somewhere in your system, that there has to be an exchange. I got to give you something so that you can give me that thing, but I don't know what I have to give you, so I'm going to bargain my first child away, or I'm going to bargain all the money I have away, or I'm going to make a ridiculous request that I cannot uphold, or or use in my life, right? So instead of making bargain when you're in a dark, deep place, because you can be in that dark, deep place and pray and ask for what you want and ask for help genuinely. You can be in that place and ask for those things. And when you're finished, when you're done crying, when you drag yourself off the floor, you can actually find some tobacco, go to the store, go to your corner store, go to the gas station, they all these places sell tobacco, and you can even buy a pack of cigarette because that has tobacco in it. It is tobacco. And you can just go outside and make that offering. You can pray and even make the offering next day, because you pray, you do all the things, and the next day you go and you say, Creator, this tobacco is for my prayer, right? This tobacco is for my prayer. And if you have the time and you really, really want to learn to pray, and you want to learn to pray well as a tool and make an offering, you can make an offering. And I think you can make an offering with many things, but the most important thing that you can make an offering with is tobacco. So you can go outside and say a prayer, and just leave some tobacco for the Creator. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of weird and interesting, but it's true, right? It's the reason why you bargain. And the other thing that I want to say about praying as a tool is, if you have never prayed before, when you start praying, you wouldn't even believe you wouldn't believe it, because you're not used to it. You're not used to it. It's something new. Anything that you start new, it doesn't really, it doesn't feel like it works overnight. It's like you start yoga. It's If you start yoga now, it's not like, that same day you're going to be able to really put yourself in warrior two and stay there for a period of time. You just start. It's going to take some time. You probably may not even be able to put your hands flat on the floor in downward dog. That might, surprise you. You may not be able to do cat cow. You would try, but you would be feeling like it's awkward. All that movement is awkward. And I can tell you about awkward. I just start going to physical training. Like I have a physical trainer, and I go work out every Tuesday and every Friday. And I've been doing this since the first or the second week in January. It's more than a month now. And let me tell you something. Every time I do a bicep curl, it feels foreign. It feels like, oh my God, I'm not doing this right. What am I doing? I do a bench press. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I'm not doing this right. And have you ever taken, when you have the weight in your hands, and you have the weight like this in your hands, and then you lift it up, you lift it up and it's like this, right? You lift it up and it comes like this over your head, and then you bring it back down and you bring it here. And then I don't even, I still, yeah, it's like you bring it here and then you bring it back down here, right? And then you bring it here. And it's like, it's so weird. It feels like, what is that doing? Unless you put a really heavy weight and you're like, okay, this is just way too heavy for me. I need to put it down because then you feel the weight. But my point that I'm making is that it feels weird when you just start. And I have been doing this for almost like more than a month. It's about 6 weeks now already. I've been in this weight training class, and yet still, you know, I'm like, how many rep do I have to do here? And when we do the bench dip and all these things, I think the only thing I'm really good at is the rowing machine, and that's because I like the rowing machine. And still, because I just start using it, after 5 minutes, I am fried, right? So my point is, praying is like that. It's a muscle. You have to develop it. It doesn't just, you don't just believe that it's all going to work out. It takes a little bit of time for that transformation. It's if you sit in meditation for your first time and you come out of it and you're like, wow, this is so wonderful. I don't know what you're on, but all of that takes a little bit of time. Most people get up and walk out of their first meditation because they cannot even handle the noise in their head, because no one say to them, you know what, your head is going to be noisy. You're going to start hearing all your thoughts. You wouldn't know what to do. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to move. You're going to be, actually, your mind is going to be telling you things like, what are you doing? What are you saying? Why are you sitting here? We've been sitting here for so long. We need to get out of it, even when you're not with your phone, you freak out, you have to go find your phone, whatever. My point is, I must have said my point is what, like 100 times, but that's my point. Praying. And if you're just beginning your prayer, you're just starting to pray, and I commend you to pray, because all this unsafety that we feeling in the world, the one way to ground yourself spiritually, to ground yourself like fully, you have to really plant your feet on the earth. You have to basically be planted on the earth with your energy going straight up to the ethers, straight up to the sky, straight up to the cosmos, straight up to the God, straight up to the universe. That's what you want, right? And it takes a little bit of time. It doesn't take forever, but practice always make perfect. And you can start where you are. You do not have to say the Hail Mary. You do not have to say the Our Father. If you want to do those things, you can always find a Catholic church and go to. But I'm not talking about church, and I'm not talking about religion. I am talking about a deeper connection to your core, to your inner self, to your knowing, to your own self creator. God said that he made us in the image of himself. Then basically find the image and go inward and do that. And when you are praying, so for instance, um one of the, I used to listen to Louise Hayes a lot, and I still listen to her from time to time. And Louise Hayes used to say, if you don't know what to pray for, go towards gratitude. So let's say, for instance, I decide to give thanks. That's a place to start, right? I'm giving thanks. But I'm like, oh, what do I have to give thanks for? Today was not the best day, blah, 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 whatever, right? You're looking for stuff and you don't know. But you can start by giving thanks. You're like, Creator, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for my life, and I'm grateful for living. I'm grateful for this beautiful weather that we are having. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for the stars. I'm grateful for the sky, the blue sky today. I'm grateful that it's raining. I'm grateful that the trees are very much looking good. I'm grateful for the earth and for the fruits that the earth provide. I'm grateful for the people that plant the food, that plant the fruits and the provision. I'm grateful for the people that picks the fruit. I'm grateful for the people that put it onto that packet, and the truck that take it to my grocery. I'm grateful for the food that I get to eat every day. It may not be a lot, but I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my bed. Um I'm grateful for my fridge that keeps things cold. I'm grateful for my stove that I can cook, I can have a cup of tea. I'm grateful for my washer and dryer, I can wash my clothes. I'm grateful for my white microwave. I'm grateful for my lights and my equipment. I'm grateful for my camera. I'm grateful for my phone. I'm grateful for my computer that brings me email. I'm grateful for all my friends. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my family. And Creator, I am especially grateful for today, this day. I'm grateful for the lesson that I get to learn today. I'm grateful that there is always a new lesson to learn. There is always something to learn. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that you are in my life. I'm grateful that I can breathe. I'm grateful for my eyes that I can see, and my nose and my mouth and my ears, and I can go on and on and on and on and on, right? But I'm just trying to say you can start with gratitude if you don't know where to start to pray. And so, okay, so for instance, you want to pray for something else beside gratitude. Say, for instance, your hip is in pain. You have a painful hip, and you're going to see the doctor, and you really want to pray for your hip, because and you can start praying, Creator, I'm going to see the doctor today. My hip is, my hip is paining me. I don't really know what is wrong. I am going to see the doctor. And Creator, I want the doctor to be able to tell me what is going on with my hip. I want them to lay their hands and help me release this pain that I'm having in my hip. I am not having a hip pain. I'm just saying that if that's what you're doing, so that's the part of your body. Like, speak to your prayer, or speak to your God, the creator, the universe, whoever you want to call them. Speak to them like you're speaking to your friend, because if you call your best friend today and you say, girl, I have a headache, and I don't know what to take. Maybe I should take a Tylenol. Maybe I should take an Advil, or maybe I should take some rest, or maybe I should put a wet cloth on my head. And you pray to God, God, my head is hurting me. I don't know what to take. Maybe should I take a Tylenol? Should I have an Advil? Should I lie down and rest? Should I put a wet cloth on my head? I need your help. I need your help to tell me what to do, because I'm not sure what to do. Should I drink more water? Creator, I'm praying and I'm asking you for your help. Please release this tension in my headache. Help me to be able to get over this pain. Please lay your hands upon me and show me, or send the person who can help me to alleviate this pain in my life. So praying doesn't have to be complicated. Grounding yourself doesn't have to be complicated. And as I say before in this video, you can pray anyway. You can walk and pray, and if somebody see you talking to yourself, then, just pretend you're on your phone, because everybody is walking and talking to themselves these days. You don't know, they're on their phone, are they nuts, whatever. You can just join the crowd. You are already a part of the crowd, because you also walk and talk to your friend on your phone, and we cannot see that you're doing that. So we like, what is this person doing, right? So you can walk and pray. You can pray in the shower. You can sit like I am sitting here right now and pray. You can be in the kitchen and cooking and praying. You can go for a swim and pray. You can lie down in bed and pray, or you can get on your knees and pray. Most people really prefer to get on their knees and pray, because being on their knees is almost like a surrender. It's like an offering. It's like, Creator, here I am on my knees, begging you, begging you to help me, begging you to take care of this pain, begging you to look after me. And the other thing you can always ask for is for mercy. Ask for mercy in a good way. Ask for pity in a good way. Creator, have mercy upon me in a good way. Take pity upon me in a good way. Creator, continue to give me good health and strength, and in a good way. Creator, may my friends be healthy, happy, and whole. Creator, may my mother continue to be physically well, spiritually inclined, all these different things. So I am going to just leave this here for you today. This has been a real lesson in prayer. If you really want to learn to pray, it is easy, an easy lesson in prayer, an easy lesson in to ground yourself and take your time and show up for yourself, because we are definitely living in an unsafe environment. And the one thing that it can ground us and make us feel safe, as opposed to everybody gaslighting us with their stay safe, stay safe. Nobody gives a shit about that, right? Tell me how to stay safe instead of constantly telling me to stay safe, because technically speaking, we are living in an unsafe environment. And what we need to really get regulated and to really calm down, and to, you know, really have our nervous system Zzz, very nice and straight, because that's what we want, our nervous system to be very solid. And for that to take place, we can have a nice, solid nervous system instead of, being anxious and worry and always worrying about the boogeyman who is probably outside my window. I need to keep it closed, right? Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. And yeah, come again, share this video with your friends. If you find that this was very helpful, maybe you know someone who wants to learn to pray, share it with them. And here is what I'm going to leave you with: do less and be more of who you are. And thank you for letting me stay here in my pajamas, in my room, with stuff on my bed. I'm going to move forward and stop my video because, as you guys know, I am not editing right now, and I'm going to learn to do it. I'm going to learn to do it. I'm going to be doing my 50th video on Thursday, and then after that, I'm going to learn. Well, I'm going to learn. By the time I do 100, I need to start to learn to edit. I hope you just cut me off right here.